Hello and welcome to a Hurricane Ida evacuation cooking with cleavage. So I'm not home right now, so I had to ask one of my friends to let me use her kitchen. So shout out to Mary Lou. Hi Mary Lou, thanks for letting me use your kitchen. And so I actually used to cooking on a gas stove. So this is an electric. I grew up with cooking on an electric stove. So we'll see how it goes. But I came up with an idea because my mom always, when she had leftover grits, she'd put it in a container like this and get it hard, right? So that when you you can get it out of there, it actually comes out like that, right? And you can actually slice it. So it's kind of like polenta, you know? Italians do this with polenta where they slice it and they do all kinds of things with it. Well, my mom would make fried grits. So this is kind of what you do so far. I'm cutting it in half because it's really thick. This isn't leftover grits. I actually made grits just so I could show y'all how to do this. Because I was talking to my friends about it last night and they were like, oh, why don't you show us how to make this? So I'm actually gonna do that today. And then you just slice it like this. And you get it in small pieces. And you want to get them in pieces, you know, smaller pieces like maybe that. Okay? So I'm going to cut these in thirds probably. Okay, and you're going to cut it all up and I'll be back once I get that done. Okay, so now that we have it all cut up, I actually cut it into pieces and then I cut skinnier because we're going to fry them. So that way you don't have to have them in the pan that long, right? You'll see. You really just want them in the pan long enough for the egg to cook and the cheese to cook, to melt, because everything's... So I don't know how many eggs it's going to take to do this whole batch of grits, but I'm going to start with 3 and see how that works. Okay. And I'm not the best at... I'm sure chefs are looking at me like, oh, that's not the way to break an egg, but I don't know. We'll see. So I'm going to just mix that up. You don't want to mix it. You don't want to mix it too hard or too much. You just want to mix it like this. And then I'm going to show you how to finish this off after I wash my hands. Okay, now I know we're cooking on an electric stove, so before I finish the eggs, I'm gonna actually turn it on. So that way it gets heated up while I'm finishing it up. You might wanna put it on medium high. You know, you wanna get the pan really hot. And then I'm just gonna season my eggs, right? So I'll put some salt in there. I've talked about some of this Tony Chachere's that we use down in Louisiana. And I'm going to put a little bit of that. It's just a pepper seasoning. It has salt, so you want to watch whatever other salt you put in there. And then my mom always taught me to put just a little bit of milk or cream just to make the eggs a little fluffier, right? So you want to... And see? Everything gets all mixed up together. And then this is the point that you're going to put butter in the pan. And then you can tell when the butter starts cooking how hot it gets. So I should have turned it on sooner because, you know, I haven't cooked with an electric stove in so long. But you see the pan start to smoke, right? And that Tony Chachere's in that egg mixture, you just give it enough time so that it penetrates all the seasonings into the egg mixture and stuff, you know? And, you know, you can tell how moist the eggs are with that cream in there. Okay, so it's still not ready because the butter's not really sizzling yet. So let me get that done. But while we're doing that, I'm gonna show you how to dip the grits in. So see how this grit cake is? You can actually dip it in there. And you turn it over and you get it all in the mixture. You fit as many grit cake as you can in that bowl. We're gonna use a small bowl today and just keep adding and then add an egg mixture as we need it. Right? So you want to turn it over and get it all coated with that egg mixture while the pan's getting hot. Just like that. Oof. I'm gonna have to use this hand to get the cheese out. Okay, so I think let's just try it and see if it's ready with one of them, right? I hear it sizzling, so it should be good. Nope, it's not good yet. It'll cook, but we need it to be actually sizzling. So I'll wait for that to happen and I'll be right back. Okay, so you can see that that it's starting to sizzle in a pan like that. And you see how the butter, you can actually smell the butter when it's ready. They call it brown butter, but you can see how it's starting to, it looks like it's separating or something. I don't understand how to explain it, but that's what it looks like. And then you want to just add the grits to the pan as much as you can fit. Ooh, this is a thick one. You probably want to put that in the middle to get the most. Just get it all in the pan like this. And you wait till it gets nice and hot. You want it to be hot when you flip it. And I don't have a spatula right now with me during this evacuation. I think I can put a couple more in here. There you go. And you wait until you see how the egg is still really moist in there. You just want to wait until it kind of hardens before you flip it, right? And you can, I can't remember if my mom used to put the cheese on it now or after, but I'm going to do it after I flip it, because then the other side's going to be really hot and it's going to actually melt more easily. So as soon as that happens, I'm going to come back, okay? Okay, so now the egg is starting to harden, you can see, right? So I'm just gonna flip. I usually do this with a spatula, but I'm just gonna use these tongs to flip them. It's actually cool with tongs, because you can grab that egg and make sure each little piece has a little bit of egg in it, which doesn't really happen with a spatula. So I might have invented a new way to make fried grits. This is what my mom called it, fried grits. You can do all kinds of stuff with a grit cake. Leftover grits. I'm just gonna see if I can turn that whole thing. Okay, and then now that and then you just wanna throw some cheese on top of it. And so this is like a real easy way to use leftovers, and it's cheap and it's filling and it's good and it's satisfying and it tastes really good. You just wait for that cheese to melt. And what I'm gonna do, because I turned it up a little bit to get the pan hot enough, I'm gonna turn it back down. What this says is 5, and see if that cheese will melt. And the next one I might try before I turn and put the cheese on it and see how different that is, because maybe that's why. I can't remember when my mom did it, but if she did it before she flipped it, then maybe that's how the cheese melted so quickly and you didn't have to wait like this for the cheese to melt. But yeah, if you get really thin grated cheese, like, shredded cheese like this, it's thin, so it should, melt pretty quickly. Okay, so you see how the cheese all got melted? So I'm gonna just take all that off and put it on a plate. Right? And then I'm gonna do my next batch. And like I said, I'm gonna try it different, but I might find out why I'm doing it this way, but that's what this show is all about, experimentation, right? I mean, even if I don't know how to do it, I'm gonna try it. So again, y'all let me know what you want me to try, because I'll give it a go. Oh, so yeah, the pan is a lot hotter than it used to be. So now it's really hot, and we're gonna have to do this in sections because I could only fit this much now in the egg, which is, ooh, be careful because those grits that are in that pan will pop, and just be careful because it's hot. And when they pop, it's like hot popcorn. And I'll put that in the middle. It's a real simple thing to make, you know? And like I said, I probably have more than I need right now because I actually made it specifically for this. If you were using your leftover grits, to do this with your leftover grits, you wouldn't probably have this many grits. But hey, I could just feed an army today. Or you can have leftover fried grits, and then that'll make your leftovers last even longer. Spread it out, you know? This one's a little thick. Okay, so that's gonna have to make some more egg mixture after that. So let's just get that egg cooked in there. Looks like it's starting to. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna add the cheese to it now. But then when you flip it, remember you're gonna be frying the cheese too, not just the egg. So we'll do a taste test after this and see which one we like better. Okay, so what I'm gonna do now, like I said, I haven't done this in a while, so the cheese isn't really all melted, but the egg looks like it's all cooked. So I'm gonna start to turn everything. Oof. So you can smell, now I can smell the cheese cooking on the bottom of the pan. As long as you have a non-stick pan like this, it doesn't matter if you're gonna fry the the cheese on the pan or not, because as long as it's not one of those pans where everything sticks to it. But you see how melty everything's getting? And I don't know, I might just put a little bit more cheese on top so that it's not all just disappeared. Just a little. Like that, just a little handful and everything. And then we get all that done. Then we're gonna take that out, and then I'm gonna show y'all a little special treat with some coffee after this, okay? Okay, so you see how it looks like it's pretty melted? I'm gonna take all that out. And you see, this isn't gonna come out as easily as oh look, it did. Because the pan is that non-stick. So I just have to remember which side is which so I can do a taste test after this. But it's gonna be really hot, so you don't wanna take a bite of it as soon as you take it out of the pan anyway. So I'm just gonna put this over here. I'm gonna turn this off. And I'm gonna talk about what my family calls Chaween. So this is leftover coffee. After, you have the coffee, you turn it off before it actually burns. And my dad's family always put it in a glass jar and put it in the refrigerator after it cools down, and then it's leftover coffee, and they always called it Chaween. I don't know where that word comes from. His family was French and Native American, so I don't know if it comes from the French, but I lived in France for a year and I never heard anybody call leftover coffee Chaween. But right now, like I said, post-Ida hurricane evacuation, I don't have any ice right now. It's kind of hard to come by. So I'm just gonna pour some cold coffee in this glass and show you that you can actually, instead of just using Bailey's in coffee, what I found recently is a little bit of Grand Marnier. So Bailey's just enough to color it, and Grand Marnier, just a touch. Right? And you mix that up. That's gonna be good. Oh, that's so tasty. So give that a try. You know, you can, instead of use, if you don't like the way the Grand Marnier is with the orange, you can use Frangelico, which is like a, what is it, almond or hazelnut? I don't know. I have to look that up. It's been a long time since I even thought about that. But I'm gonna let this cool, and then I'm gonna come back and try it for you. Okay, so here I go, doing a little taste test. Okay, so I think I'm gonna try this little guy. Just want to get a bite. Yum. This conversation all started with comfort food. The thought of like, you're evacuating, you don't know if you're going to lose your house. We need comfort food to make us feel better. So this is actually one of my comfort food things because my mom always made it when I was a kid. And a lot of people, their comfort foods do contain something that their moms made for them when they were a kid, or their dads made, you know, because some moms don't cook. I get it. And see how hot that still is? Even though I let it sit, you can see the steam coming off of it. I don't know. I can't decide which one I like better. I think that one, but that one's good too. But anyway, y'all try it. Let me know what you think in the comments. I hope you enjoy the Chaween. You can also have this hot. But I just had some Chaween and I didn't have to make coffee today. Because, you know, who evacuates with their coffee maker? You know, only crazy people do that. I do that. Anyway, thanks for joining me for another episode of Cooking with Cleavage. And I hope to see y'all soon.